You can't just give your kid an iPad instead of actually doing your job as a parent. The parents of these kids have allowed their children to become helplessly addicted to this technology.
It's like a zombie.
That they're using.
No iPad. But I want
Are you kidding?
Is it too big for you?
You can literally see the sensory overload here. It's not good.
Goodness.
This is something everybody needs to hear. What is up, YouTube? A few weeks ago, we talked about parenting trends that are spoiling a generation, and the response was overwhelming. If you're new here, we discuss social issues and modern pain points, so if that's of value to you, gently tap that like button. Today, we're diving deeper. We're looking at why Generation Alpha specifically is becoming the face of a failed social experiment as it relates to screen time. We're going to hear from parents and educators on both sides of the line, and by the end, you're going to learn something new. Let's get started.
Things I don't care about as a mom. Part 1. First thing, and this might ruffle some fucking feathers, but screen time. I don't give a
No iPad. But I want
Are you kidding?
Parents don't realize how addicting iPads are when they give them to their children, and we're seeing it in this young child, unfortunately, right now. And there's a lot to break down in this situation. Like, one, the child can't regulate their emotions without having their iPad. They can't find sensory input from their environment without their iPad. They're in a fight, flight, or freeze mode because they don't have access to their preferred item, and they're acting as if they cannot operate in life without their preferred item, which is very similar to signs of addiction. When you don't have your preferred choice presented, you begin to act like this. And screen time is addicting. Research will show it. Why do you have kids if you're not going to parent your kids? Like, honestly.
What a great question. And that's the basic principle behind today's video. Why have kids if you don't want to be kids and actually be actively involved in their life? When you hand them an iPad, all you're doing is passing along the burden to somebody else. Now, we're going to see that there are situations where obviously the iPad's not going to be the end of the world, but if that's our only distraction for our kids, that's definitely not effectively raising them. And +2 for this guy's hair.
You can't just give your kid an iPad instead of actually doing your job as a parent.
I need to take the iPad to work.
Jeez.
The parents of these kids have allowed their children to become helplessly addicted to this technology.
It's like a zombie.
That they're using as a parental crutch. As a result of this reckless parenting, kids are more tired and irritable. They are zoned out beyond all belief. Kids are substantially less creative, as well as being a lot less social. Yet your kids are behaving at the dinner table with non-existent effort from you as a parent. But at what cost? These kids are little drug addicts.
Drug addicts. I think he hit the nail on the head 100%. They are literally docile at the dinner table. They're docile in the restaurants, even at events where they should be engaged. And this is a critical part of a child's learning development. And we're going to actually hear this exact same thing from a father. Like, when my daughter's at a restaurant and she's not behaving, it's because she's bored and wants to be engaged. And when you just say, here's a screen, all you're doing is you are literally just rotting their brains out, and you're literally robbing them of an opportunity to be engaged in their environment. I don't care if it's an education game. I'm sorry. That ruffles some feathers. It is what it is. Let me know down in the comments, do you think I'm off? Or if she's watching Miss Rachel, which we'll talk about later. All right, they have to be speaking to people and learning communication skills and picking up those cues that they only get through physical interaction. Nope, I don't like it. Nah. They should be talking. We need to be talking. No social skill learning, though. Nothing. Yeah. I've already said what I said.
You have school tomorrow. iPad. The iPad is put away. You have school tomorrow.
iPad.
Kaden, go to bed.
iPad.
It's really sad.
You can ask for your iPad, Kaden. You're not getting it. You have to go to bed. You have school.
iPad.
Hear what I said? Go lay down. You have school tomorrow.
iPad.
Sorry to pause. It almost looks like close to irreversible damage is being done to that particular child. Special needs is a whole different conversation, but their brains are particularly slow to develop. That's why most of them are special needs, because they have some sort of developmental issue. And the iPad already compounds that in healthy children. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts down below, especially for kids with disabilities. Do you think the iPad hurts or helps?
So be it. This is my 8-year-old's brand new iPad that she got for Christmas. Yeah, you see it? It's shattered, yeah. I threw this on the ground and then I stomped on it with my winter boot. Do you know why? Because of her mouth, her attitude. She has been fighting with me all weekend. And the thing that keeps coming out of her mouth is, my grandma got me that iPad, you can't touch it. Da-da-da. She's 8. Okay, she's 8. I threatened multiple times. She told me, you're not gonna touch it, Mom. You're not gonna touch it, Mom. I'm gonna call the cops, Mom.
She said, what?
See, the thing is, she has this iPad, right? And then she had an old iPad that actually did get shattered. This is that one. This is her old iPad. I'm going to make her think that this is her new one that she got for Christmas this year. I'm going to teach her a lesson.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. What do you guys think of that punishment? We're actually about to hear someone who absolutely disagrees with that for a 6-year-old, but close enough. And I would say on the whole that I also disagree with the shattering of it, right? Because again, we don't want to waste our money. But the fact that she's saying, you're not going to touch it, you won't, the obvious arrogance and insolence that's coming from our own daughter tells me that's a separate discipline issue that needs to be addressed, and breaking the iPad is not going to solve that. So in this case, I would actually say breaking the iPad would not help because the issue runs much deeper.
A 6-year-old cannot shame their parent. They do not understand what shame is. Their brain is not developed at their age. They do not have that cognitive capacity. Why aren't you listening to a professional who has done this and studied this for 20 years? This is all written down in books. This is all written down in studies. This is written down for literally decades. You are taking the adult logic that takes until you're 25 years old to develop, by the way, and you are putting it into a 6-year-old child and thinking that both of your brains work. They don't work the same.
There's a lot to unpack here. So going back to the first lady that was talking about how the iPad destruction was not an appropriate consequence, she mentioned development occurs until you're 25. Think to yourself right now, how many people do you know that are 25 years old and still have a long way to go? I know, because I was one of them. I'm like 32, and if you ask my wife, she'll probably tell you I'm like 12. But that's better than 10, so I'll take it. But to her point, the punishment must fit the social and mental development level of the child, and I agree 100%. And that actually does correlate conversation about how iPads are okay as long as there is a proper reward system. And again, there's going to be pros and cons to doing both things, but there needs to be a reason for the iPad to get out. And as we'll see later, if you can do it off the iPad, I would say that choice is always going to be the better choice because it forces them to interact and do those things that they cannot learn through a screen.
We're iPad parents. If you try to give us some kind of advice and you don't have kids.
I don't have kids, but I get to work with yours. And let me fucking tell you, I know exactly which students in my classroom have an iPad at home and which ones don't. More than often, children who have unlimited screen time at home have behavioral issues in the classroom that you don't see at home. I'm all for using iPads at the grocery store, on a car drive, but there is no need for your child to be on an iPad every single day.
This might be a controversial topic, but I'm going to tell you guys why we got our 1-year-old an iPad for Christmas.
Does not
Honestly,
need
this was
an
supposed
iPad.
to be her gift last year, but I still wasn't willing to do so because I did feel extreme mom guilt. Technology is literally their future. Play on iPads, they read on iPads, they do their work on iPads. And as long as there's balance, iPads are not a negative thing.
1-year-olds don't need iPads. And to the educator's point about kids in the classroom, I can guarantee you it's obvious. I also worked in an elementary school and college, and it's very obvious the kids who were on electronics a lot. Attention spans, basically 0. In fact, you're lucky if you got them to focus on anything for longer than a minute. Honestly, I think it's part of a bigger reason why discipline's been so bad. And she had mentioned car rides. We're going to talk about that later on. We're going to get the perspective from a parent. So just stay tuned, and we're going to link it all in.
This thing is an iPad kid. My daughter uses an iPad every single day. Because outside of school, gymnastics, and jujitsu, she needs some time to just escape it all, to have some fun time. Yesterday, I got into this like hour-long argument with my sister-in-law. She was like, I don't want to have a kid because I don't want to be raising no iPad kid. Those type of kids are raised by the iPad. In restaurants, when your kid is crying and you don't know how to control them, they just force feed them the iPad. Here, calm down. I don't want to deal with it. On the other hand, I would get up with my 1-year-old. We're walking around. She's hi to everybody. She just wants to say, she's bored. She wants to go talk to people. I would take the salt and pepper shakers, lay napkins on the table, and they would just sit there doing this until the food came out, just stimulating their little minds. I would ask for extra straws. He would count, tear them apart, build things. I can't stand the term iPad kid, because anytime you tell a new parent, oh, you don't want to have an iPad kid, automatically they go to, well, I'll never let my kid touch an iPad. No, don't let your kid be raised by the iPad. My kid is a very well-trained student. She's really good at jiu-jitsu. She does gymnastics. She is a great kid. Like, my little kid's amazing.
You want to know why millennials have an entire generation of iPad children? It's because we have no village, and because the world is not set up for kids anymore. Grandma and grandpa don't ever want to take their grandchildren, but they have no problem coming into your house and telling you how it's dirty, or there's dishes in the sink, or there's laundry that needs to be done. Well, how exactly would you like me to get all of that done if there's nothing to distract my toddler? Then we get told, well, send them outside to play. That's what we did with you. One, we just went through the winter. Nobody wants to be outside when it's 14 degrees. But two, when you sent us outside from light to dark, there was a lot less child sex trafficking and kidnapping in the world. And then if I'm out at a restaurant with my child and they so much as make a noise and disturb your dinner, you're going to give me the side eye and call me a bad mom. But then if I give them an iPad so they're quiet and don't disturb your dinner, you're also going to give me the side eye and call me a bad mom. Oh, and remember how when you used to take us to McDonald's or any fast food restaurant, they all had play places open for the kids to play in? Yeah, they don't even have those anymore. They have taken them all out, or since COVID, they've shut them all down. So before you want to judge parents that give their kids the screen time that they give them, you should probably realize that we don't have the same village you had, nor is the world set up for our kids like it was for yours.
So if you're feeling judged, it's usually because you have something internal that's telling you that whatever that person is talking about is true in some aspect, because things that aren't a part of you don't bother you. So if she's feeling judged, it's probably because she feels guilty to some respect. And to her point, times have changed. However, we have to adapt to the times. We can't just say, well, because there's more sex trafficking out there, we can't let our kids outside. No, you might have to go with them. You might want to limit where they go. You might want to keep them in eye distance down the street, not let them go run around the whole neighborhood. But there are ways to overcome that. And if it's cold, guess what we do with our daughter? Oh my God, you guys are not going to believe this. We have things called jackets. Put them in one and some mittens. Go outside. Even when it's cold, unless they're sick, obviously. They're going to experience cold in their life. Just because it's cold doesn't mean we can't ever go outside. Temperature is just an excuse. We can't just make excuses for ourselves. And for the moms out there, hey, look, I love you guys so much. I really do. I have the most unbelievable respect because my wife is just the most amazing mom. She's a stay-at-home mom, and she takes care of everything, and I could not do it without her. But guess what? She doesn't stick our daughter in front of an iPad and gets all the chores done. You want to know how? Because she has toys. She talks to them. Sometimes she has to hold them and do this thing called parenting. Yes, it's hard. It's very, very hard. And I see how hard she works. And that's why I know that she's doing more than I could ever ask of anyone to do in this household, and why I'm completely fine with her not working, because she works harder than I do. I can guarantee you that.
What do you want? Tablet. Tablet. Why are you still making noise? Tablet. YouTube. Oh my God, just hold on. Why are you such an annoying piece of that's ruining mommy's?
You guys, come to Best Buy with me and my baby girls. I am gonna buy them some iPads. I have been debating this for a very long time, and I'm finally gonna do it. I mostly need them for whenever we travel. As you guys know, traveling with toddlers is a lot of freaking work, and with two of them, it just makes it a lot harder. Anyways, let's go make my baby some iPad.
Babies are cute though.
Okay, I'm really debating whether to get them the mini, because it's already pretty big. Do you like it, Mama? Mira. Who is this? Mommy? Let me see how she looks with an iPad in her hand. Is it too big for you? Wait.
You can literally see the sensory overload here. It's
Oh
not
my
good.
goodness, they're
You can
so
see it in their
little.
eyes.
They're too little for an iPad. Okay, never mind. Y'all are too young. I decided on an iPad. I'm getting 2, of course. What? But let's go get the girls a snack while he goes and gets it. Let's just do some Cheetos because I think he's waiting for us. Go, baby. We gotta go, 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 go.
Junk food
But
too.
yeah, this is what I ended up getting for the girls. I got them in space gray, but I don't know. I feel like this was a good purchase. Like, I'm starting to like feel better about it.
So she knew they were too young, but she did it anyway. So what she's going to tell you is that we're going to put her videos on there. There's going to be education games. And yes, that's probably going to be true. And is it 100% bad? No. But it's much less for the kids and it's much more for her. And she's absolutely correct. Young kids in cars, it sucks, especially under 1. There's lots of tears. There's lots of screaming. It makes car rides very unpleasant. But guess what my daughter has in the back seat? Y'all ain't going to believe it. She got toys. Yeah, it's crazy. I know. It's wild. But they keep her occupied without a screen. These things actually work. In books, yeah, those do work too, I promise.
My toddler be bored in the car. I don't give him anything. He just sits. If he wants to bring a toy, I always tell him, I'm like, baby, if you want to bring a toy for our 2-hour car ride, 3-hour car ride to grandma's, bring a toy. And if you don't want anything, don't. Sometimes he brings something, sometimes he doesn't. At no point ever did me or his dad ever give him anything to entertain him in the car. He's not getting an iPad. He's only 3.5. I don't think toddlers need their own iPads. I think that's a little wild, but you do you. He brings a toy if he wants it. He brings a book if he wants it. Honestly, he's never brought a book in the car. He just sits. He sits. I have his car seat in the middle, so then he just watches me drive. He'll ask questions. He'll take a little nap. He'll talk to himself. He'll fiddle with his fingers. He just chills.
I was a kid, we played I Spy in the car. And this game was awesome. I play with my mom or I play with a friend of mine when we had it in the car. Because there's plenty of things to do besides stare at a screen. This is something everybody needs to hear. Being bored is critical for productivity and creativity. When we're not bored, we don't use our minds as much. When we mindlessly scroll, what are we not doing with that time? We are not thinking, we are not developing, we are not creating, we are filling a gap. And these things have been statistically proven to reduce creativity, and for a society as a whole, a reduction in creativity and ingenuity leads to a decrease in society as a whole, which is not good.
First generation iPad kids are grown now, and I don't know if you know any, but it's pretty scary. I have a family member that's 16, so she was a first gen iPad kid. Obviously not everyone this age. I have a couple other family members that are 16, around that age, and people I've worked with that are fun and great and lovely and wonderful to talk to. But iPad kids, when they stay that way, and what I think it is for me, the biggest thing overall, and I've discussed this with my husband at length, is just there's a complete lack of social graces. I feel like what we would consider baseline manners. She never offers to help. She never stops to say hi to you when you come in. I feel like she doesn't know how to do anything or function. When you're 16, or at least when I was 16, I felt like I was pretty close to being an adult. Drove my own car, I had a job, I took classes at a community college, I got myself around. I pretty much did whatever. I felt like I was, kind of grown at that point. Family member can't make a meal, can't figure out anything.
So bad.
Won't even type on her phone. It will just dictate everything. Any slight inconvenience or request of her to do anything, there's always an excuse. And she can't handle any delay, inconvenience whatsoever. She doesn't have, to my knowledge, real life friends, doesn't really get out or do things or have extracurriculars. Sits inside on a phone, on an iPad.
So I notice this myself a lot. If I spend too much time on the screen, doing things, very quickly, getting all this stuff fed to me, then I do become impatient, actually, a lot faster than I would have been otherwise. So if that's working on me as a 32-year-old, hopefully somewhat mature adult, we don't know what it's going to do to an actual child.
Good job. Clapping.
Open discussion for you guys down below. Do you let your kids watch shows like Miss Rachel? We do at home. for maybe half an hour a day at most. My daughter does enjoy it, and it does teach good things. So I'm kind of for that. Maybe not necessarily on an iPad, maybe together for a TV, but what do you guys think?
I don't restrict my 4.5-year-old's iPad time, and we don't have any behavioral issues caused by the iPad. And you're probably thinking I'm either delusional or lying, and I'm not. Trust me. Like, we have had them in the past. We've had to do like complete screen detoxes before, but it wasn't the iPad. It was what was on the iPad that was the problem. Basically, anything geared towards children is absolute garbage, in my opinion, and can be like taught or learned not on the iPad, with the exception of like story reading where the words are being lit up as they're being read. I do find that a useful tool on the iPad, but I've deleted all the streaming services, YouTube Kids, and all the crap games off the iPad. So you're probably thinking, what does the 4.5-year-old do on the iPad then? Spotify and Procreate. And if you don't know what Procreate is, it's an illustrating app. I myself as an illustrator use it, and a bunch of other professional illustrators use it as well. There are so many cool tools and things you can do. She can manipulate the brush size, the brush opacity, color palettes, like manipulate layers, change the background color. Like, the things that she has taught herself on this app are absolutely like, she's 4.5 years old. It's so cool what she's doing there. Technology isn't inherently bad. I think we can all agree on that, but like an addiction to a screen definitely is, especially for such a little developing brain. So my new rule of thumb is, if you can do it off the iPad, then we're not doing it on the iPad. Handwriting, reading games, opposites, anything like that, we don't need the iPad for. And you can sit here and argue with me that your child has learned so much on the iPad and it's been such a cool tool for them, but honestly, we all know it's been a cool tool for you.
So I agree with what she's saying 100%, especially as it relates to taking streaming services off iPads. I read an article, I think it was by Elon Musk, it might have been like 2 months ago, where he talked about a show on Netflix that had promoted kids being transgender. We have to be careful with what our kids watch. It's important. And if they have free access to streaming services, they are allowed to download that data, so to speak. And that some of the data can be very damaging. You know, we don't want children watching things that are promoting things that don't align with our values. So otherwise, our children and I are going to be like this, right? And we're going to wonder, well, how did my child think these things, right? Where did they learn these words? If we allow them to go into these areas and watch these shows that influence them in ways that don't align with us, it gets them into trouble and it creates some issues and some tension. So let me know down below in the comments if I missed anything. I'm anxious to hear what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one.